If this episode resonated, please share it with another mum who might need it. Follow us on socials at Burnt Out Mummas.
Check out our journey and we will help you to reconnect with yourself again. Please subscribe and download to all our episodes. It helps us a ton and keeps this podcast going.
Thanks. Hello.
Hi, Burnt Out Mummas. Happy Friday.
We have got a special guest on today, Lee, known as Mr. P, a primary school teacher who is really big on socials and talks a lot about his experiences in schools and with children, which we're really excited for.
So excited. And you're also a podcaster,
Yep.
author. Anything else you want to add in there, Lee?
I got an MBE last year. That's what
Fantastic.
That is amazing.
Oh my gosh, we can really talk about that.
Yeah. So that was nice. Yeah,
that's a big achievement.
Thank
right.
You, yeah.
Well,
no, thanks for
that sounds really good.
Thank you for coming on our podcast.
We'll be welcoming you to the Burnt Out Mummas. So for you girls and anybody listening, mums, dads, everyone keeps saying parenting is getting harder, but no one really explains why. And for parents, it feels like we're constantly trying to get it right, but still feel like we're sometimes failing or sometimes getting it wrong. So today we wanted to talk to Lee about what's actually going on with children right now in schools and sometimes why it feels so intense to get it right for parents. So Lee, welcome. What do you have to say about that?
What are you seeing in kids at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, that point about parenting being harder and no one knows why, it is harder. It definitely is harder because things are just stacked up against parents nowadays. Like everything from cost of living to the amount of hours you have to work. And, so I think a lot of parents don't realize that it's not necessarily them, it's the society we're sort of living in and how it's set up to just make it a lot harder for parents. And obviously I see it as a teacher in schools with young people. I mean, I think teaching's harder now than it's ever been. I think it is a lot more challenging for a number of reasons. And, I think some teachers will say it's because, kids seem different nowadays. And I don't think the kids are different. I just think, again, the way our society is at the minute is that childhood is just very, very different today than what it was when we were kids, and I don't put the blame, I don't put the blame on parents. I just think there's so many different, probably the biggest factor is like the online world in a way. I think social media has a lot to answer for why, children get the sort of childhood they do, because I think we've sort of redesigned childhood in a lot of ways and not necessarily for the better,
Yeah,
we
literally, that was the first thing me and Paisley had a discussion about before, and we were saying what is the reason, and the first thing we both said was social media. Everything that's presented to kids now, isn't it, that what we didn't know about back in our time.
I mean, so this is something I've been talking about for a while. Like, I think there's been this slow erosion of independence in kids, right? So even though as a generation of parents, we're actually spending more time with because I'm a parent as well, so I'm a parent and a teacher. As a generation of parents, we're spending more time with our children, but we actually are probably doing too much for them.
I agree.
And so there's this app you can get called Teacher Tap, right? And it asks teachers every day questions about all sorts of stuff. And it's just about gathering data on teachers' perspective on things. So one of the questions they asked a couple of months ago was, what age do you allow children to walk home from school on their own? Right. And the top answer at primary school, the top answer was year 6, although 11% of teachers said they do not let children walk home from school now on their own. And then the following question was, at what age were you allowed to walk home from school when you were at school? And if you were over the age of 50, the answer was year 3. Right.
3. Oh my God, that's my
Yeah.
son's age now. 7.
Right. So that to me shows this sort of slower. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, that's just one example of things. But what I think is, if we don't give children the opportunity to build sort of confidence and resilience, what you find then fills the gap is anxiety. You know, and so I'm not. So you say your lad's, sorry, was it son or daughter?
Son, yeah, he's 7.
Son, yeah. So would you let your year 3 child walk home from school on their own?
No,
Be honest with me. You wouldn't.
No, not now anyway.
No. So I always ask teachers this.
Leave his coat at home, or like, yeah, he's quite a young 7.
Yeah, we look at him as a bit.
He's in there playing in the playroom with all your little girls' toys. He's still quite. I could try. He plays with cars still. I try and keep him off the iPad as much as possible.
So whenever I ask that question to people and I say, would you? So I'll always say when I do my training, I've got a room full of teachers, and I'll say, right, hands up if you're a parent. I say, right, keep your hand up if you'd let your year 3 child walk home from school. And they all put their hands down. And I'm like, well, why? And then the number one reason is they go, well, it's just not safe. It's too dangerous. I'm like, is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
We think it is. And then the question is, why do we think it is?
I think also because everything, the safety of children is presented on social media and the news so much now compared to when we were younger. I think it was all still going on when we were younger, but it wasn't presented to parents.
Remember, it was drummed into us though. If someone stops, don't get in the car. If somebody offers you sweets, don't get in the car. Don't talk to strangers. I actually have never said that to my children. I think they might have a nightmare.
No, I haven't because of
they never probably needed to, because they don't. Generally speaking, they don't sort of wander around as freely as we did when we were younger. And the reason is because we think, as a generation of parents, we are sort of manipulated into believing that the world is a much more dangerous place, right? Yeah, through social media, right? Because what you're not going to engage with on social media is a post where someone says, nothing's happened today. Today's been an absolutely fine day. What you are going to engage with is the rare incidents that are then just fed to you constantly, which sort of because as humans, we've come from that sort of hunter-gatherer where we are on alert all the time still now. So when we have this sort of negativity bias where when we see bad things, we just think it's going to happen more than it does. We sort of go on high alert, and we're not good at statistics. We're good at survival. So parents are like, well, and it's not, like, statistically speaking, it is safer now than it's ever been. Yeah. Like, there are fewer crimes now than there were in the 90s. But we don't believe it.
Dependent on where you live? No.
In the UK, that is. So it's a weird one, because I'm like this, by the way. Whenever I'm talking about it, it's not like I'm preaching like I'm better. I'm the world's worst. My mind goes to the worst possible place with my kids. Like, one of my kids phoned me up the other day, and he was like crying on the phone to me, and he's like, Dad, are you there? I'm like, yeah, what's the matter? He goes, are you on your own? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you're gonna have to come and get me. I was like, what is it? Now in my head, I'm thinking he's being held at knife point by a cartel. And he's like, I'm like, what is it? What's going on? And he's like, I've been holding this poo in all day. And I just make it home, and I'm like, oh god.
2026 problems.
Yeah. No,
I know. I think they are on cotton wool a lot. This younger generation.
It is. Yeah. I do think so.
And so what we do is we keep the kids inside, because our natural instinct as parents, and 3/4 of kids in the UK spend more time inside a day than prison inmates.
Wow.
I can believe that.
That's crazy, isn't it? When you think of that, and you put that in...
where they won awards, and it was about that boy, and he did those, and he was in his bedroom all the time, and then what was it called? It was all over Netflix, and he won awards, and then he ended up committing that crime from social media.
Oh, I don't know.
We'll
come back to you on that one.
I'll come back. But so would you say a kid's more anxious because they're not going out?
Yeah. Is that what you feel is causing the anxiety in kids nowadays?
I think it's a contributing factor, yeah. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
don't have the opportunity. It's like we've also become health and safety obsessed as a country. Like we put an end to
Oh
all
Yeah.
risky
gosh, yeah.
play.
Yeah.
You know, and whereas we were young, it's like one of my kids broke their arm the other week playing rugby, and he's had his arm in a cast. And we're talking about it in the staff room, like, when was the last time you saw a kid in a cast? Like,
Yeah.
it just
A long
doesn't seem
time
to
ago.
happen
I
as
don't
much
think
Yeah.
they do
as,
it anymore, someone was saying.
It's so
yeah.
true, Lee.
Mm.
I've not actually opened my eyes to that, but yeah, I've not seen a kid in a class for a long time. And at least there was always like one or two people in my year
Well, you always
that
had
always had a
crutches.
yeah.
I miss
had
it. I
crutches
miss
all the
signing
time.
them. I used to be able to do bubble
Yeah.
writing back in the day, so I could sign them. So what's happened then is like parents keeping the kids inside, and you know, again, bringing in elements like cost of living crisis, where to have a day out as a family seems to cost you an arm and a leg. It's like screens become this quick, easy fix to give parents a bit of a break, and I'm not saying the big issue for me, because I'm a teacher in school, but then when I'm not in school, I'm traveling the country doing teacher training around technology. So I'm a big believer that when tech is used effectively, it can be a real positive tool. And I've seen that with my own children. I've seen it with children in my school, and obviously, but obviously, you know, there's a big debate at the minute around the whole screen time thing. And I think excessive screen time is a massive issue, but I just don't think all screen time is equal. And the issue is, for a lot of children, their tech use, their screen use outside of school is pretty poor. It's not that it's not useful, it's not productive, it's sort of passive consumerism through social media. Now, I don't know if you've seen that the government have brought out some guidance around screen time for under fives.
Yes.
And obviously, I think a lot of teachers will welcome it, because we're seeing the impact of social media algorithms on children in class. Now, there's also this debate around banning social media for under 16s at the minute. I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah.
And in an ideal world, that would be great. And again, I think a lot of people would agree. But there's no point to that. There's no point in banning social media for kids if when they get to 16 they just become addicted to it anyway. So it's all well and good.
Controlling it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all well and good saying we're going to ban it, but ultimately what needs to change is the business practices of the platforms that are designed to hack your attention, to keep you scrolling.
True.
And go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, for that reason, I deleted YouTube from my kids because they were scrolling, getting aggressive. But when they get their homework on the apps, so, you know, like they get, is it Rock Stars and all of that, they were coming off that and then going onto YouTube. So you have to be over them watching it whilst they're doing their homework.
And my daughter was the same. We had math seeds, and then, you know, obviously you're there with them, but then you think, oh, right, they're you know, for that 5 minutes, they're, you know, doing their work. And then they've clicked on Netflix or YouTube. So the same with me. I deleted the app.
Yeah. So if you have an iPad, there is a tool you can use called guided access. And so that allows you to lock an iPad into an app. So then you can go on to the Times Tables Rock Stars, and you can you basically set a passcode, and then the children can't. I use it in school all the time, because if we ever put a device out where I want the children using a particular app, children will be children and they'll try and go into a different. So guided access allows you to lock it into a particular app. So that might, because the thing is, like, those tools, those homeworks, they're really good. And I've had that from parents where they say, well, you know, children spend a lot of time on a screen in school, but it's a completely different use of screen. You know, there's a massive difference between a child practicing their times tables through an app like Times Tables Rock Stars, which again will only be done in small, it's not hours at a time. There's a massive difference to that, or accessing unregulated content through social media where the algorithm's designed to hack your attention, you know. And I think a lot of adults are struggling with it. I struggle with my screen time, you know. Definitely. And I'm a fully grown adult, and think, and I feel really conflicted because I do think social media can be a really positive force for good. Like I feel conflicted because on the one hand, social media has given me all these opportunities and, you know, from sharing ideas, resources online with teachers. I'm now got this business doing the training, the podcast, the tours, the books, and so on. So I see firsthand that when social media, and I'm sure it's the same for you in the community you've built through your podcast, you can see it can be a really positive thing. But then I also see this sort of detrimental impact it's having. And I think obviously regulation of the platforms is desperately needed, but just more education around how it all works as well, because too many people don't realize that social media is not designed for them. Like, you are not the customer of social media, you're the product. And so the sole purpose of social media at the minute is to keep you scrolling as long as possible. And so when you've got kids accessing that, and when I was saying before about how we're all as parents manipulating to thinking the world's a more dangerous place because we're being fed these shocking, outrageous stories online, kids are seeing that as well. That's what they're so you've got that going on, but then you've also got a lot of adults, it's sort of addiction by stealth, but a lot of adults, parents are on their screens a lot of the time. So then that's affecting things as well. It's like the government have just launched this year of reading, and they talk about how reading for pleasure is at the lowest it's ever been, right? We don't have a reading problem in the UK. Kids can read. What we have is an attention problem where they are struggling to sit with a sustained task, or to sit with a task for a sustained period of time without having that constant sort of dopamine reward that they get through social media. And that's what I think is one of the biggest contributing factors to why teaching itself is a lot more challenging nowadays, because as teachers, you can't compete. We were talking about the other day, like there's certain lessons I've taught for years, right? And they've always been like your bankers. You know, these lessons are going to grab the children, just engage them. And I'd say in the last couple of years, you're getting more and more children, they're just bored. It does not engage them at all, because they're so sort of just used to getting that constant
quick fix
dopamine feedback loop through. And it's not their fault. It's not kids' fault. That's, you know, they're being exposed to it, and there's not, you know, and I think for a lot of parents, they don't realize initially. The parents just aren't sort of necessarily understand what the platforms are set up to do.
You noticed that with the dance school, didn't you? We did actually put a phone ban on for the children, because what we found was in between them learning the routine, the same thing, they'd go over to their phone or check it. And there's a lot of parents that use, is it the 360 app or something, that check to see where their children are. But I generally, again, it's that freedom thing, think it makes children more anxious as well, because it's like, oh, we haven't got our some And I was like, listen, that's what you've got us here for. If there's an emergency, we'll call your parents. But some of them get quite anxious if they haven't got their phone, and it goes back to that
actually
thing,
the parents get really anxious with their kids without the phone as well. And we're like, well, we want their 100% focus in this class, because otherwise you know, we've only getting 90%, but we want 100% from them. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, it's just that little water break. Oh, I'm just going to grab some water, but I'm just going to check my phone. And actually, in that minute, they could get, like, this is teenagers, a really, like, horrible message from a friend or whatever. You know, this is the worst example.
That was the film Adolescence.
Adolescence, yeah. But that whole mode of they can change. Their whole thing can change, of like not being there, but they're still thinking about what's going on on the phone.
Yeah.
You know,
it is a constant distraction. And it's it's really, really challenging. And then going back to like other impacts that social media have on parents is that comparison culture as well. So a lot of pressure parents put on themselves comes from the fact that they are being exposed to someone's cherry-picked highlights of their life as a parent, and I find it hilarious, like, because
I watched one last night.
I was guilty of it, right? I when the kids were younger, we'd do it. We'd go on a day out. So I've got 14-year-old triplets, right? So
oh my gosh, well done,
amazing.
That is amazing.
So we'd go on days out, and don't get me wrong, that was intense when they were young. Like they're amazing, but you know, 3 at once is everything's very, very intense. And we'd go out for a day out, and I remember this one particular day we went, and I don't know where it was some sort of dinosaur kingdom thing. It was like this pop up. It was in a field. There was loads of pop up dinosaurs, and it was just one of those days which was just a nightmare. The kids were overtired. Me and my wife were bickering. But it got to a point where it was like, hang on a second, I've not documented the fact that we've come out as a whole family on this day. I need to take a picture of us all here to show that we've actually got out the house together. And it's like, right, come on, we need to get a picture. And the kids are moaning. I'm like, listen, we get this picture and you'll get an ice cream. And it's all, and then we get this nice little selfie and it goes straight onto Instagram. And I'm like, great day out with the family. Hashtag. And it wasn't. I hated it. It was dreadful. But it's like almost like this pressure that you had. And I remember that night was the night where I was sort of went, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm not playing that game, because you do it even though you're lying, and so, or you're not necessarily lying, but you're exaggerating. You'll make something out to be better than what it actually is. And even though we all do it, like we're all guilty of doing it, and we all know everyone else does it, we still then fall victim to comparing ourselves to it.
You do.
Yeah.
Oh, there was something last night, and she had like 3 million followers, but she had every new thing in her house. And I was like, oh, she's living this dream life. Everything's so organized. But I was like, how did she do that? Running a family, 2 kids. There was not an inch of dust. She goes to hotel rooms, cleans all the hotel rooms. And I felt like a failure. I was like, my God, I need to do some cleaning this morning.
There will be something. There will be something. Whoever it is, there'll be something in her life that isn't perfect, but she's never going to post that on social media. So it may well be that her husband doesn't really love her. They're just in a relationship where it's sort of not really, you know, there'll be something. There will be but you never see that. So it's trying to get people to sort of, is to like not. One of my favorite quotes in life is, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And I think
true.
Once you get past that idea of comparing yourself, because what the other thing as well, and you do it with everything, you do it with parenting, you do it with your health and fitness, but the algorithms again will push the 0.001% of people who are ripped to shreds, and they're all over your newsfeed. So then you go in, that's what everyone looks like. It's not. And so you then go in, I need to go on this diet, I need to do this. And it's like, no. And the advice I give people is like, you've got to curate your algorithm, right? So the default setting is to make you feel like that, is to make you feel anxious, is to make you feel scared, is to make you feel angry. That's the emotions that will keep someone on social media longest. So you've got to assume with your social media, that's the content being sent to you all the time, is to get that reaction. Now, the way around that is to cleanse your algorithm. So it's to make sure, because there is some good stuff out there, is engage with that stuff. So the way social media works is whatever you watch, whatever you like, whatever you comment on, whatever you share, is data the algorithm uses to feed you more content. So then if you're interacting with stuff you want, and then when you get sent something that you don't want and you don't think is useful, is holding your finger down. I do not want to see this. 3 dots in the top right-hand corner, show me less of this. And so you start to then be in control of this algorithm rather than letting the algorithm control you. And that's where social media can then be a little bit more positive for people, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Do you remember when we were speaking about the other week when it was about the fear in the world and the news, and we just said stop watching it? Because again, the more we have people that were like, oh, watching more and more of the war stuff, and they're like, oh, I feel anxious. I was like, come off your phone, like live in the real world. The real world, it's fine day to day, but you're watching that warmongering, and they get paid for it as well, don't they? So the more clicks they get, the media outlets get paid more.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the whole manosphere stuff. It's like that sort of stuff is getting pushed by the platforms, and it's like people are going to say stuff. They don't believe any of it. Half the stuff they say in that documentary we through one, you know, they don't believe any of it, but they know by saying it, it's going to get pushed by the algorithm, get more likes, get more views, and they can earn and monetize off that.
Well, it's clever,
Um,
isn't it? It's knowing the algorithms and how they
mm,
work. So it's,
yeah.
they're actually very clever in how
Like
they
if
do
you show a
it.
bit more boob or something, you get
Yeah.
pushed out. If you've got a filter on, I noticed what I did use one filter and it just doubled the views. And I was like, but I don't look like that every day.
Yeah.
we
It's
look pretty
Burnt
burnt
out
out.
mums, you know.
you get it with everything. It's like football. Like I'm into me football, and all the football podcasts now. It's about who can say the most controversial thing to get as many clicks.
That's it.
You know, and
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
it's people being a bit more clued up to see the BS of it all, really, so they can, you know, not
Yeah.
Like when people say, "Oh, my business is closing," and you know, and they do this big sob story, and then you click on it, and it's just for more engagement, but it works. People fall into the trap of watching it more.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
And then you've got to also remember that that's what children. So when we talk about comparing ourselves to others online, again, we're fully grown adults. Kids are doing it, and they know nothing of the world. So they're scrolling, getting a constant feed of how amazing, perfect, incredible everyone else's life is. And we don't really have many conversations. Like one thing I do with my kids, because they're old enough now. So when they were about 6 or 7, they were sort of asking about getting a YouTube channel. And I was like, no, you've got to be 13 because that's the default age. I've now realized that there's no reason, there's no maturity or element to why it has to be 13. It turns out it's some agreement in America in 1998, copper, about an agreed age at which you can start scraping data on people. And the reason it was 13 is that the tech companies wanted no restrictions, and then people in, you know, the safeguarding wanted it to be 18, and so they decided on this 13 age. But actually all the social media scrape all the data anyway. And that's another thing I'll come on to, is about posting your kids online and the dangers of that in a second. Yeah, because I read this book and it's just, it's pretty scary. But anyway, so 13's not even an age where children are mature enough or anything like that. It's just this made up number. So if I could go back now and they were, oh, can we get you? I'd have been like, no, you've got to be 18. But when the 13th birthday came along, it was like, right, okay. So we came to an agreement. So it was like, right, you're not getting unlimited time. So we have time limits. So they get YouTube. They've got YouTube. They get an hour a day on YouTube during the week and an hour and a half at weekend, right? They're not allowed the phones in the bedroom. That's a strict. And I say to parents all the time, look, you wouldn't let your kid go to bed with a porno mag, a snuff video, and a bag of drugs, would you? But that is almost a digital equivalent if you let them have access to social media in the bedrooms. And then what we do is like every few weeks we do what's called like a watch party. So they will sit with me, each of them will sit with me, and we'll just have a scroll through what YouTube is sending them. And just discuss that sort of content and whether we think that's useful or not. And, you know, what is it you want? What is it so start searching for that and start liking and engaging with stuff that's adding value. And when things pop up, because again, I think it's like within an hour of scrolling through YouTube, you're going to see inappropriate content, making sure you're getting rid of that and having that discussion to sort of educate them around how these algorithms work. Because you know, so many children just don't have that education really, and it's something I'm trying to teach kids in school.
I also think parents as well. I think parents as well don't have it, you know. So you've got the kids on one side, but you've also got the parents that don't realise all of this, and there is a bit of an older generation that are not on social media, but their kids are, but they don't understand it. So I think it's really
they're on
important.
Different platforms, like the older generation, like Facebook.
Facebook now. Mum's just gone to Facebook and she's like, "Oh, I've got a friend request." I'm like, "No, it's recommending a friend." She just doesn't get it. But with them being on socials all night and not watched, I mean, coming into the classroom the next day, like, are they burnt out? Are they exhausted? It has a massive knock-on effect, doesn't it?
What do you see that parents don't realise in children?
I think you can. It depends how early it starts. I think the attention, there's an attention issue that we've talked about. I also think what poor use of screens can do is they can almost encourage this sort of like learned helplessness. So when you give them a task to do that's a little bit challenging, there's almost this sort of like, oh, I can't do it, because they're
That's
so
so
used to
true.
just having access to. Because again, not necessarily blaming screens. I think just the general world we live in, it's a very frictionless world. Like the kids are growing up in a world where everything is accessible so easily. Order food, it gets delivered to your house. You don't even have to speak to a human. You can order
There's no
something off
struggle.
Amazon and it's there within hours. You know, there's not like my generation, you know, even just media that they can access, sticking a film on, they've got access to every. It's not like they had to go to Blockbuster, get driven to Blockbuster, go around, and they can only get one film. So you've got to decide which film you want. You know, these things that we had that they're not getting access to has then this knock-on impact to this sort of like lack of resilience in some ways, because everything's so easily accessed. You know, they want to be entertained, it's on the phone. They want to watch something, it's that, you know. So when we're asking them to do some sort of challenging work, there tends to be this sort of, not with all, you know, but there's a growing number of children where it's sort of this, oh, I can't do it. And there's not even a willingness to try sometimes as well, which can be quite...
I mean, we live on ChatGPT now. I mean, it's got me out of so many legal problems, but I get frustrated when it doesn't work, because I'm like, I just need to make sure I'm not going to legally get caught out here. And now it's not that I am addicted to it, but it saves my life. It saves me thousands. But if everybody's on it, then you could be arguing against ChatGPT.
I mean, actually, obviously, I've just had a little baby, and who's only 6 months.
Oh, congratulations!
And my brain, thank you. Congratulations for the non-sleepless nights. Can I just say, he's teething at the moment, so I'm going through the non-sleepless nights. Yeah. Oh my god! But even I used to be really good at maths at school, and even lately I think I'm just tired as well, but I'm just relying on a calculator like all the time, and I'm like, for really simple maths, and I'm like, what is wrong with me, Isla? Put it together, because it's like, and I used to love times tables and things, and I'm literally, I think I know the answer, but I'm rechecking it on the calculator to check that I'm right. And it's that relying on it.
It's going to be a different world, though, for our children.
Oh, and that is, I know.
With AI.
Is, but I mean, AI, I love AI, so I'm a massive advocate of it. I think when it's used effectively, it can be really, really good, but it's making sure people are using it effectively, because the thing with AI is AI doesn't know what's right. It knows what's likely to be right. And so it does make mistakes. And the ease of use of it can lead people to just sort of becoming a bit too reliant on it. Now, a scary
that could be us.
Yeah, I mean, for you, if you're not getting sleep, your brain can't function anyway. So sleep is fundamental. So you're going through a bit of a period at the minute. So that's fine, you know. But I read this article by neuroscientists, because basically what we're seeing in schools is teachers will use a bit of AI to help with some of the teaching, and that can be really good. You know, adapting resources for children with particular needs. AI is great for that. Giving you, you know, doing a bit of the heavy lifting with so much admin expected of teachers, that can be really, really useful. But then at the same time, it's almost adding to teachers' workload, because we're getting so many parents now who are using AI to write complaints, but they're not reading what they've written. So like we had one where it was like 3 pages of A4, and at the bottom of it, it said, would you want me to summarize this into 5 key? So they've not
that's what they did it, and you're like,
don't. Oh no.
You did that once,
I actually did that once. I actually did it. It said, what was it? No, it said at the beginning, here is your professional response. And I wrote that, and I was like, I felt so sick. I was like, oh no. But yeah, I've never done it again because of that. No, but I actually always read through it now. But it's helped. You've got to just check it. At the same time, I have learned a lot from it as well. Oh yeah. So we were saying this. We were saying this the other day, like little things that I didn't know that I've actually learned, that I actually do miss learning stuff, because we don't learn.
It gives you power. Like I would have been taken advantage of with my properties and a legal thing I've got going on. If I didn't have the knowledge that I was given, I wouldn't have been one step ahead.
Oh yeah.
So I love it.
It's great, but it's just sort of checking and making sure, because
you've got to double check.
The worry is that like too many people are going to use it for what's called like cognitive offload. So it's like getting the AI to do your thinking. Now, you've got to look at AI as a tool to help you with some of your you still do the thinking, the AI helps with some of the doing. So that checking it and tweaking it and is sort of making sure you're interacting with it all the time is amplifying your thinking, not replacing it. But if you don't, and you're just getting the AI to do this article, there's a lot of things I'm talking about in this episode that's like scary, but he basically said we're going to see a massive increase in early onset dementia and Alzheimer's in people.
Oh, I can imagine.
Your brain's a muscle, and if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
He did say, however, if you're doing that interaction, you're interrogating what the AI creates, and you're using it as that tool to amplify thinking, then that's fine. But it's a fine line, and there's a worry with it because in America they've brought out a robot. Like Melania Trump walked out with a robot saying that this is going to teach kids in the future.
Oh,
and it's
God.
like, no. If that's the case, I'm getting my kids out. I do not want robots teaching my kids.
No, 100%.
For me, education
I mean, they
is
can't
about
teach dance.
humans.
Yeah.
You know, it's human connection. And but yeah, so it's great AI. I love it. I think it's great for all sorts. Like whether it's, I use it a lot for teaching, but stuff outside of teaching. You know, you're ever buying something on the internet, get your discount code, weekly shopping lists, all that sort of stuff.
Just wonder though, when everybody is using it, what the effectiveness of it will be though. Because if you're having
I reckon
an
it is
someone,
that dementia and
you're going to be
like
arguing against
later.
the computer.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing to remember with it is its default setting is to appease you. So it's designed to. So if AI has a choice between telling you what it thinks is right or telling you what you want to hear, it will tell you what you want to hear. So again, it's that idea of like, you can't put too much trust into it. And it does make, you know, AI can be scarily good, but it can also be confidently wrong.
Yeah. Actually, sorry. Yeah, go on.
No, go
Sorry.
on. No, I'm just saying it, like up to this point, what most of these like ChatGPT, its base level of knowledge, what it's trained on, is pretty much the whole of the internet. So it's human data on the internet. And as we know with the internet, some of it's great, some of it's not so great. So it's just being careful to navigate it in the right way.
Yeah. Well, two things I was going to say, actually. I read an article about learning piano, because I've actually just started learning the piano, and how music is really good for your brain, especially with things like dementia. So for me, I used to play the piano, but madly, it's like it's erased from my brain. I cannot even read a note. It's honestly, it's actually quite scary how it's erased and I can't even read a note anymore. Whereas this one next to me has got a different brain to me. She was like, and I was like, I've spent like 5 weeks trying to learn this again. And she just opened the book and played it. However, it does something to your brain. So this is why I also think music is so powerful for children, because it's using a different part of our brain, which we are shutting off. So actually, because with piano, you've got to learn your left side of your brain and your right side and bring it together. So that I think is a fantastic. So I think that's a really good tip for parents.
And dancing. And it's supposed to help depression.
Yeah.
And you can't teach dancing online. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Music's one of the most powerful tools for learning. It's probably one of the most powerful yet underutilized tools. Like, you store music in your long-term memory.
True.
Like,
I really wish the government brought it in more.
Because, you know, if I was to ask you what did you have for breakfast last Tuesday morning, you won't be able to tell me that. But if a song comes on the radio when you drive home that you've not heard for 20 years, you can still recite the lyrics word for word. So it's so powerful, and learning a musical instrument is so good for the benefits to it are massive. Again, it goes back to that building resilience, because you know you've got to stick with it. You've got to. It's not easy. It's hard. It's tough, but the benefits are massive. And you know, in my school, we've got a really good sort of music set up where kids are getting opportunities to learn different instruments, and we get people coming in and teaching them. It's amazing. And you know, it absolutely. I think music's so powerful. Like going back to the dementia thing, like my granddad had dementia, so music therapy was like incredible. It was just so weird to see him sort of getting to a point where he'd struggle to sort of tell you what he did in the morning, but you play a song and he was just away. It took him back to a place. It was just amazing. I love it. I think music's brilliant. And again, dancing and exercise, like a massive as a parent, just getting kids into, whether it's dance, just getting them into sport. Like my kids play sport. It's just the benefits of that is yeah.
So good.
And I love the fact that like girls' sport is growing so much as well. Like, so my daughter, she's into a rugby and it's so good for them. It's so good.
And it gets them off the screen.
Yeah, it's one of the most important things you can do as a parent, I think, is get kids into a sport or a hobby, or dancing, theatre, whatever it might be, playing a musical instrument, because honestly, it's so the benefits of sport. Again, it goes back to resilience building. It's
and wanting to win, being competitive, having that drive.
I think competitiveness that will never leave us as humans. I think, and I think it's very good for kids to be competitive. I think it teaches them a lot, and actually, even as if they, I know, and it's. And I think it's really good. It's so good because even when they're older, setting up a business, you're going to fail, but you have to keep going. You have to keep going at it. It's it's the only way you actually grow a business is to fail. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you never really failed until you stop trying.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard because as parents, you see, I've had it with my kids this year, particularly where they've maybe not been picked or they've been left out. And, I've had the issue where the two lads and I've had one lad who's been picked and one lad who hasn't. So we've had that dynamic to deal with. And it's hard, but it's part of life. Like, they're going to grow up and they're going to go for a job and not get it. And they're going to maybe start a business.
Especially with AI competing. So they need to be extra resilient.
So the resilience, and it's just dealing with like, the thing I tell my kids all the time, and I've said this since they were old enough to understand, is my number one golden rule of life is life's not fair. It's not fair. Certain things going to happen. It's not fair. And there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do is control how you react to it. And I think sport teaches that. Sport teaches sometimes people cheat. Sometimes the ref's really biased. There's nothing you can do about it, but you've got to learn to deal with it. And I think sport is such a good way of teaching really important life lessons, and that competitive nature of life as well. Because life is a competition, so.
Yeah, it is indeed. Yeah. And on that note, thank you for coming on, because we took a chance. We messaged you. And I think it really resonates with our audience. So
can we close it off by asking... I know actually you was going to say quickly about the posting kids online, and then I've just got one more question to close off.
So the posting kids online thing, right? So again, I am guilty of this.
We are very guilty as well.
Yeah, if my kids were born today, I wouldn't post a single thing of them online, because their digital footprint is going to dictate. And this is something I'm teaching kids about, their digital footprint. In the future, their digital footprint is going to dictate their financial status, their job prospects. And most children aren't in control of it. Like, if you think about it, for most kids, when's the first time they appear online?
When they're a baby. When they're born. Oh, God.
It's not when they're born. It's,
even in the scan picture. Scan picture.
Weird people. Did I do it? No, I don't think I did. I found it. Yeah.
So the scan picture gets uploaded, and parents don't do it through any sort of malice. They're not, but every milestone of that child's life is then posted online through mum and dad's account. By the age of 13, over 1,800 videos and pictures of them are shared online through the mum and dad's account. And Barclays Bank have said by the year 2030, 2/3 of internet fraud affecting young people will come from what their parents are posting about them now.
Oh my God.
And the risks with AI as well. So this whole new sort of risk. So I was in a school the other week where they've had an incident where a year 2 child in this school has had images of them taken from their mum and dad's Facebook page and then basically doctored into indecent images through AI to then be sold online.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
See, this is why I get worried.
yeah. And
Like-
it's not just that. It's like what the platforms are building up about your kids whenever you post them. So even if your kids aren't on social media, but you're posting about them on social media, those social media platforms are already building up the profile about them, ready to sort of exploit them. And so those stats around the digital footprint came from a book called Smartphone Nation by Caitlin Rieger, I think she's called. Dr. Caitlin Rieger. Really, really good book. But then this is a book I read over the summer called Careless People. It's by this whistleblower at Facebook. And I'll just read you this. So Facebook's advertising team had made this presentation for an Australian client that explains that Instagram and Facebook monitor teenagers, posts, photos, interactions, conversations with friends, visual communications, and internet activity on and off Facebook's platform, and use this data to target young people when they're vulnerable. So the idea being, if a child posts a selfie of them, like a teenage girl posts a selfie of themselves on Instagram or wherever, and then deletes it after 5-10 minutes, Facebook interpret that data to mean that they've deleted it because they don't like themselves. So they then target them with makeup adverts, beauty products, weight loss supplements, and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I mean, in one sense, so our children are they're with modelling agencies, and this is where it gets really hard, because without socials and the internet, it's hard, like there's other ways of making money, but it's a way of getting yourself out there. But I had an ex actually, and he was like, delete all your social footprint, had stickers over the cameras, and I was like, you're paranoid. But looking back, there is obviously reasons behind it. And I was used to work for a tech company, but there comes a point where you just think everything's going to be out there anyway. If they walk down the street, they're going to get filmed by CCTV.
Yeah. There
is it just part of the process, and out of sight, out of mind? It's a really hard argument I have with myself a lot of the time. And it's like, would I stop them from doing modelling jobs because they're going to be out there? Oh, I just don't know. And I think if I read that book,
it's protecting within reason, isn't it? So it's making sure that, like, you're not giving away. It's like at the first day of school, you see it all the time, pictures in front of the house. You're giving away your door number. You're giving away the school uniform. You get, it's like you can do it in a way that is as safe as possible, and then you see others where it's sort of like you are asking for asking for trouble with how much data you're sort of sharing and giving away. So it's just awareness, isn't it? It's just, again, for a lot. And I'm not having a go at parents. I'm not judging parents, because I'm guilty of it.
We're learning, aren't we, as we go along?
Yeah. And there's not that education for parents. There's not that awareness, and we're all being sucked in by this sort of machine, thinking it's great and it's wonderful, but not knowing what's actually going on under the surface, under the bonnet. So it's just that awareness. And that book, that Smartphone Nation book's really, really good. There's another one called Anxious Generation. That's a good read for parents around sort of
that's what I've seen a lot more than I've ever witnessed, the anxiety. But actually summing up this whole conversation is, the root of it, isn't it, really, is how anxiety is caused. But to finish off, what do happy, secure kids actually need? What would you say to parents?
They need where do we get? They need to feel loved, right? But they need boundaries, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's almost this like gentle parenting for me is that it's giving your kids lots of love, but also giving them boundaries, and it's giving them opportunities to feel uncomfortable sometimes, and that they don't. And I think gentle parenting, again, probably because of the way the internet is, has sort of changed to this idea that, like, kids can only ever feel happiness all the time, and that is a nightmare when they get to school, because they can't feel like that all the time. School is hard sometimes. School is sad sometimes. School is, and parents need to prepare kids to be able to deal with a whole range of different emotions, so that happiness is more valid and more valued, and not this sort of, you're so used to it, it doesn't have any sort of because we all go again in life when these children grow up and be adults. The world is an unforgiving place, and it's trying to make sure children have an arsenal of tools to be able to deal with feeling certain feelings. And that can start from a very young age. I think the intention is always to try and protect and but actually does that do the opposite effect when they're in a situation where mum and dad aren't there to protect them all the time? And so, giving kids reassurance, having conversations, I said about my golden rule being life's not fair. My other ones are like, you get nothing in life for free, right? So anything you want, you've got to earn it. Not everyone in life's going to like you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Right?
Yeah,
and then
true.
It's like if you have a problem about something, the only way you solve that problem is to talk. And it's making sure you are there for them to talk to. And if you've got that relationship where children can come and confide in your children, they don't feel too scared to say they've done something. They know that they can, you might not be happy, but it's not ruling with this iron fist, because we know that doesn't work either. And it's just sort of having that sort of warm, loving relationship with boundaries, so kids know what's right and what's wrong, and things like that.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh gosh, I feel like I've just had a bit of a training session with myself as a parent. Do you know what? You do. I feel terrible. Sometimes. No, don't. This is the thing. I feel like we are juggling everything. And it's
like I said, at the start of the conversation, parenting is harder than it's ever been. Like there's no two ways about it. Like the struggles and the lack of just everything, like the cost of living, just even things like when we were kids, how many households were surviving on a one income household, and so parents were more present than you'd have maybe a parent living at home. But now it's like we're trying to be as present as possible while also working more hours than ever possible. And it's not set up for parents to thrive, and it's not necessarily parents' fault. That is a society issue. That is and it's it is hard. It is really, really difficult. So I don't want it to come across like I'm ever blaming parents, because I'm a parent myself, and I recognize how difficult it is. And like I say, it's just that awareness, really. It's just making people sort of think about certain things, because we have this sort of, as a society, this convenience over consequence. We sort of go towards what tends to be easy and not thinking about the consequences afterwards, So, but yeah, parents they're doing the best in very, very difficult circumstances. And whenever I talk about that, and I try my best not to it's like when I made the video about the screen time guidance from the government. It's like, parents aren't choosing to give kids these addictive tools. They're in a position where it gives them a bit of time to get on with work or whatever it might be. And it's all well and good putting this guidance in place, but if governments aren't then putting, making child play sessions accessible for families, or if you're not making parks accessible, if you're not giving families opportunities to have a day out without it costing a fortune, then it's not going to solve the problem anyway. So we need, people at the top to be making parenting a lot more. Because the other, which we've not got into, but there's a massive birth rate drop off. That's a big worry in a lot of schools. A lot of schools going to be closing in the next 10 years because no one's having kids. But we're not living in a society that makes it accessible for kids to have, for people to have kids.
Isn't it? Didn't it? The birth rate, where you do your dance school.
Gosh,
it's a massive school. It's got 3 big halls.
Where you are,
And there's only isn't there only 12 in the class on each? And they're saying if it keeps dropping, they'll have to close the school.
Because what it's almost this mentality of like, why would I have a child to completely ruin my life? Because it's not like, but like financially, it's like the cost of
pressure on relationships. Everything,
the relationship. It's not a lot, and people give the young people grief for it. But you're sort of going, well, it's not set up for you to be able to do it and not feel completely burnt out all the time. So
hence our burnt out mummas.
Change from the government to make parenting something that people want to do, not feel burnt out by.
I think we
Very
are
true.
team that. We need to get onto Parliament, don't we? We all need to become
Absolutely,
MPs.
Oh, Lee, thank you.
Oh, Lee, you was
no worries.
amazing. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank you.
much. Thank you. So,
Appreciate
where
it.
can people see some of your stuff? Because we found you, and we really resonated with your posts and everything. So, where can people find
Thank
you?
Yeah, on all the socials, it'll be ICT_Mr. P, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I have my own podcast. Me and my brother both work in schools, so we share some of the funny stories that teachers have sent in. So that's 2 Mr. P's in a podcast. And yeah, you can get that wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, that's amazing. We love it. Thank you so much for coming on
worries,
today. Really appreciate your time. Yeah, enjoy. Yeah, thank you so much, Lee. All right, take care. Bye.
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 If you're loving the show, don't forget to download our latest episodes. It helps us a ton by boosting the show and making sure more people find us.
Plus, you can listen anytime, anywhere, even offline.
And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Spotify so you never miss a new drop.
Want even more behind-the-scenes content? Follow us on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok at Burnt Out Mummas, one word, for exclusive clips, updates and fun extras.
Hit that follow button, send us a message and let's keep the Burnt Out Mummas community going.